Program for you folks tonight. Frank Zappa is here. And in addition to Frank, of course, his daughter Moon is here tonight. Hi there. Welcome back to the program. My next two guests are the first father and daughter team we've ever had on this television program. The father made a name for himself in the late 60s as the leader of the Mothers of Invention, and the daughter, certainly, you can applaud that, absolutely. The daughter is currently making a name for herself as the person who introduced Valley Girls to the rest of the world. Please welcome Frank and Moon Zappa. You folks, you in particular, I'm guessing, Frank, have quite a following here in the audience, and we're very pleased to have you here. Let me ask, I know you get tired probably of discussing your family's sons and daughters' names and so forth, but originally you named Moon Unit, right?
Right.
And now you've dropped the unit?
No, I've kept the
unit. Still on our birth certificate.
Still on, and what exactly was going through your mind when you named her Moon Unit?
Well, actually, it was a choice between that or Motorhead. I told my wife.
It was now. Now I saw your son, or one of your sons, on the Today Show this morning, and his name is
Dweezil.
Dweezil. Now these are. Well, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but these are peculiar names for children.
I don't think so.
Has it been a problem for you, Moon, being known as Moon Unit?
No, not really. When I was little, I wanted to change my name to Beauty Heart or Mary, but I think that I like my name.
Yeah. And what about the names of the other?
Dweezil, Amit, and Diva.
Yeah, Amit and Diva. Now, I know I was reading that Amit actually wanted to change his name for a time, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, to what?
Rick.
Rick.
You see, when people called him Amit, when people called him Amit, they called him Amit Vomit. And then when he changed his name to Rick, they called him Rick. So he changed it back again.
But actually, you know, they should just call him Amit the Because as he matures, I'm sure that that's what will stick with him.
You get the sense that all hell has broken loose here, and
quite a bit of heck, perhaps.
Yes. Now, tell me about your father as a father. I mean, he is a musical and sociological phenomenon, and a legend, and a little strange, or at least used to present himself that way. What was he, or what is he like around the house? And
well, you know, the usual sadomasochism. No, he's a normal guy. I mean, really.
Now, what about when you bring friends?
Interested now, huh?
When you bring friends over to the, how old are you? Do you mind?
14.
14. So we bring boys home to meet your dad. Is that strange or not?
Yes, I bring them home, and Frank looks at them, shakes their hand, asks them questions, and you know, if they're okay, you know, it's all right.
Yeah. Now what what constitutes okay for you? Have you? I mean, anybody not make the cut?
Well, she had a guy over the other day that I didn't like too much.
Yeah.
I didn't like him either.
No. Well, I wouldn't want to embarrass him by
singling
describing
him.
Yeah.
But
that's the only one that she's brought to the house that I didn't like.
Yeah.
And only because he was like a wise guy type.
Kind of a, yeah. Smart mouth.
A nerd.
A nerd. Now this collaboration between the two of you, have you ever worked together before on a project?
Yeah, on the last album.
And that was the one before the single that's so popular now?
That's right.
Yeah, and do you want to be a singer, Moon?
No. I want to be an actress. I'm looking at scripts now. I can sing. if it's necessary, I'd like to do a musical or Hawaiian Punch commercial, or perhaps be
Me too. How about you?
perhaps be an Encino housewife. I don't know.
So these are all lofty ambitions, and we're going to take a pause here, and I'm not sure why exactly, but we'll be back to talk with Mr. Frank Zappa and his daughter. Back to the show. This is the most recent Frank Zappa album, Ship Arriving, Too Late to Save a Drowning Witch, from which Valley Girls is taken, or is on, or whatever they say when it's included in the album. Explain to us, again, you must be tired of this explanation, but tell us about how this came to be. Either one of you. This is a toss-up question for 20 points.
Oh, well. I was qualified for the job, and you know, I've been to parties, bar mitzvahs. I know what I'm doing. So
now, by qualified for the job, you mean this song is about your peer group, right? Essentially.
Well, anybody who knows what the Valley's about, and
You've been there.
I have been to the San
and
Fernando Valley.
experiences it, and can let others experience it as well.
And what is it
Something to
about?
share with the world.
Yeah. What, in your estimation, what is the Valley about, Frank?
Well, you see, I don't want to break the hearts of a lot of people who really like this record, because I hate the San Fernando Valley. I think it's perhaps one of the most disgusting places on the face of the earth. And I wrote this song about the values of the people in the San Fernando Valley. But it turned out to be cute, and so everybody thinks it's cute. Okay, it's a nice, cute record.
Now, for people who may not know what, if you could just talk like these people talk, do you mind? Or
Sell them some real estate.
Well, like, okay, take this house over here, for example. You notice it's got, like, a little picket fence. It's so cute. There's, like, vines growing over everything. I don't know what the flowers are called, but, like, they're so awesome.
So it's just airheads is what you're saying, pretty much. Yeah. And what I read about the record, you got her out of bed at midnight and said, "Come down here," and did you just ad lib what's on the record, or?
Yes.
Yeah. And the results have been overwhelming, successfully for you folks.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculously so. Now, when you were in your earlier stages of your career, you did some, as far as public appearances, you did some interesting things, audience participation, you know.
Yep. That's right.
You got Marines out of the audience and on stage?
Yes. Which is a good place for Marines.
Now, once you get them on stage, what do you do with them?
Well, you're talking about something that happened in 1967 at the Garrick Theater in the middle of the Vietnam War, and what happened was there had been a murder in the village, and I think a Marine had been killed, and somebody had spread this rumor that the hippies had done it. So all the Marines were coming into the village, the rumor had it, to murder people with long hair. Remember when all that stuff was popular to do? And so we were rehearsing one day, and these three Marines came in full dress uniform in the afternoon. And I figured, well, if this was the hit squad, they wouldn't be dressed up. And they were just fans.
Yeah.
And they were hanging out for a while, and we talked to them after the rehearsal and asked them if they knew any good songs and if they wanted to come on the stage. So they said that they knew House of the Rising Sun and Everybody Must Get Stoned. So I said, well, that's really good. We'll warm up. We'll learn the songs. And you go across the street to the Tin Angel and get drunk and come back when the show starts. So they did. And when they came back, they sang the two songs, and then I said to the audience, well, let's hear it for the United States Marines, and we got this large doll of a child and said, how would you like to show these people what you would do with this in your normal daily work? And they ripped it apart on stage with musical accompaniment, and then after they had finished that, I showed the pieces of the broken doll to the audience. There was a lot of people crying out there.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's...
Well, you know, there's a reason for doing things like that, and by the time the media gets a hold of it and people try and explain it over and over again, it turns out to sound like something weird to do, but
it still sounds like something. Well, no, in the context of the times, I understand it, but yeah. And for instance,
it was pretty sick back then, wasn't it?
now, another time, you actually got yourself kind of roughed up in London, right?
Yeah, I was attacked by a crazy person.
And the crazy person was unhappy with you, or just crazy?
Well, who knows about crazy people?
Yeah, that's true.
For sure.
Yeah, it was.
But I spent a couple of months in the hospital and a year in a wheelchair, and that was not too fun.
Yeah. And you never found out what the motive for this was?
Well, he told two different stories when they caught him. The first story he told was, see, what happened was I was working in a theater that had an orchestra pit 15 feet deep with a concrete floor in the bottom, and they didn't have it covered over. And the security guards that were hired by the theater were off to the side smoking some marijuana at the end of the show just as we were doing the encore, so they weren't paying attention. And this guy came out of the audience and he knocked me into the orchestra pit.
Yeah.
So he told the press that I had been making eyes at his girlfriend and he was jealous. That was one story. I couldn't even see him or I don't even know what the guy looks like today. Didn't see him or his girlfriend because the lights were in my eyes. And then after that, he said, well, we weren't giving him enough value for his ticket dollar. That was the second story that he gave.
For his entertainment dollar. C. Moon, your father has had a very difficult life, and we're going to pause. Again, we'll return to talk more about this with Frank and his daughter Moon.
Hello, I'm Larry Bud Melman with yet another of my 5 good reasons why you should ride Melman buses. Yet another number 2. Riding backwards in a bus could cause motion sickness and other fatal diseases. That's why on Melman buses all the seats face forward, the very same direction the bus is heading in. Melman buses, see where you're going, not where you've been.
Hi there. Welcome back to the show. Frank Zappa and his daughter Moon Zappa are here. I wanted to ask you about your friends in the Valley. How do they react to your success by introducing them to the world?
Well, most of my friends don't speak Valley. They prefer to speak English, but those that I imitated are flattered because if there's one thing Valley girls love, it's attention. And,
you're making a lot of money on this, I hope, huh? And Frank, it was a pleasure meeting you. I've been an admirer of yours for many, many years, and I know you had a greeting for someone here.
Yeah, ready? Happy birthday, George.
And George has quite a following of his own, apparently.
That's right. George is a cool guy. He was there when it was all happening.
And George will be...
75.
75. Well, again, and for me, George, happy birthday, too. Look for the UPS truck coming by with a lovely gift. Thank you very much, folks. I know you're very busy. I appreciate you being here. Frank, Moon, nice meeting you. Thank you very much. Well, now it's time, ladies and gentlemen, for a segment of this program that we like to call Stupid Pet Tricks. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Let me take a moment here to tell you about tomorrow night's program. We will have on this very show Mr. Frank Zappa, also comedian, juggler Michael Davis, who is in a brand new television program on this very network, which debuts tonight. Also, an animal interpreter, Dave McKelvey. I'm not sure what the man does, but he is an animal interpreter. And, in fact, we have a second. Let's just find out what the guy does. I'm going to introduce you now to a man you may have seen before on the show, one of our segment producers, Mr. Bob Morton. Bob, can you come out here? Bob, nice to see you. Bob, as you heard, we're talking about tomorrow night's show. Dave McKelvey, an animal interpreter. What exactly is that?
He talks to animals. Very talented man, very talented. And he's bringing with him Sylvia, the world's most amazing pigeon.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
will have a conversation tomorrow?
Yeah, and he'll talk to Sylvia, and he actually throws Sylvia like an airplane.
Throws
Also,
the
yeah,
bird?
Yeah.
Is that legal?
I think so. He does it. He
Yeah.
does it for a long time. Yeah, he's here, as a matter of
He's
fact.
here?
Yeah,
Oh,
if you
sure.
want to ask him.
Yeah, he's a day early, oddly enough. But hi, Dave. How are you? Is that Sylvia? This is Sylvia. Oh, nice to see you. And we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. Okay. Thank you very much. Michael Davis.
Michael Davis.
Michael Davis will be on tomorrow
Michael
night.
Davis. This is, in case, this is Michael Davis right here.
Comedian juggler Michael
and
Davis.
He's in a new NBC show, and he'll probably juggle or something like that.
And maybe we'll have a clip from the show.
Yeah,
that's
we'll
on
have a
today?
clip. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's on tonight.
That's right. It was on
guy.
earlier.
Yeah.
Now, what about Frank Zappa? What's he going to do?
Jerry's talking to him.
Gerard Mulligan.
Gerard
the other,
Mulligan, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's bring out the other segment producer, Mr. Gerard Mulligan. Gerard. Nice to see you. How are you, sir? What will Frank be doing tomorrow night on the show?
Well, I'm guessing he'll have some amusing anecdotes.
Anecdotes?
Maybe, life on the road, that kind of...
Any chance of a new album that we can discuss tomorrow night?
I don't know. I've got the old one. Frank is backstage.
Frank is backstage.
Seriously. Now, if you want to ask him...
Sure.
Frank! David Letterman? This is Bob Martin. Just get right now. We met. Of course. How are you? Good to see you.
Okay, now what do I do?
Frank, give us an idea what you're going to be talking about tomorrow night.
Brown lipstick.
All right, brown lipstick. So put
In
that
the
in your
corporate
TV
suite.
TV guide, and the corporate what?
Brown lipstick in the corporate suite.
All right, brown lipstick in the corporate suite. Frank, if you can just stay right there for a second. Also on tomorrow night's show, we'll have. Thursday night is always viewer mail night, and to give you an idea what that's going to be like, let me introduce you to our head writer, Mr. Jim Downey. Jim, come on in. Frank Zappa, and you know, of course, Gerard and Bob. What do we have on tap tomorrow night, Jim?
Okay, well, we have a letter from a man named Judas, who he really liked that show where you threw the coffee in Paul's face.
It's a long time ago, right?
Well, it was, but we sort of thought you might throw one of your blue cards at Paul and put his eye out.
I don't know. No. Well, Frank likes it. All right. Well, if Frank likes it, we'll do that one.
We also have a letter here from someone who wants to know why every time someone appears on Live at 5, they show up on our show, and then asks whatever happened to the late night fish sticks.
Late night fish sticks. That's
so
right.
we're talking to Jack Cafferty about interviewing one of the fish sticks.
I think I'll go with Frank on the blue card in the eye. Those are all good suggestions. Anything else we can look forward to on the show tomorrow night?
Well, as you know, yesterday was Flag Day, so we thought it'd be a good time to do a piece on flags from around the world.
Okay, great.
And Dan Blyer.
Dan, how are you? Nice to see you, Dan. Dan's makes many of the props and so forth we use on the show. What do you have there, Dan?
Yeah, well, we've found this new map of Wyoming, which has an individual portrait of everyone in the state.
That's great. Very nice, Dan. We'll look forward to that. That'll be Flag Day tomorrow. Now, we, from time to time, introduce new slides going into commercial and coming out of commercial. Let's check with the art department. Here's Ed Hall and Bob Poop. Ed?
Yeah, Dave.
Is this a new slide for tomorrow night?
It'll be premiering tomorrow night, brand
Okay,
new.
and this is kind of the summer theme there.
Yeah.
That's nice. All
Late
right.
night beer here.
Very nice job. Nice work.
Here's
And
the other
Bob,
one
what do you
that
have
day
for
that's
us?
going to premiere is the new late night poster.
Oh, that's
It's gonna be on
great.
Bus shelters.
This will be tomorrow night. Thank you very much,
It's
Bob.
shot at night, right?
Also, at the beginning of every program, Bill Wendell has a few words to say. Bill, give us a highlight of what we're going to hear tomorrow night.
Dave, in my years in the industry, I've never been more excited about this. Look forward to it. From New York, home of the Indianapolis 500, it's Late Night with David Letterman. Tonight, musician Frank Zappa, animal interpreter Dave McKelvey, and comedian juggler Michael Davis. Also a look at new flags and viewer mail.
That's right.
And now, a man who sleeps in a suit, David
Very
Letterman.
nice. Okay, Bill. Very nice. Now, Paul, Anything musically we can look forward to tomorrow night, sir,
Well,
aside
of
from
course
Mr.
I'll
Zappa?
be in the emergency room taking care of my eye, but if I get back in time, we'll probably start the first commercial break with our fabulous version of Sly's Dance of the Music.
Okay, can we want to hear just a little of that?
Hear a little bit of it
Just
now?
a little of it
We
right
can
now?
do that. Well, I don't...
Okay, very nice. Now, every night on the show, there are always some tickets reserved for special people who will be in attendance in the studio audience. Marie O'Donnell has the ticket list for tomorrow night's show. Marie, why don't you go ahead and read some of the names of some of the people who will be in the audience tomorrow night.
Okay, Beth Filler's bringing 2 people. Reagan Atkins and Welch Golightly. They'll be 2 people. Oh, here they are now.
Here they are now? Okay, come on in, folks. Part of our studio audience.
John Cornelison is here with his family, Kelly.
Okay, great.
Peter Simpkin, his 3 kids, Elizabeth, Mary,
All right, okay,
Carolyn.
well, we're going to pause now for a commercial
Ricky
while
Moss
Marie
is
finishes up
bringing
the
3.
audience guest list. We'll be right back with Magic Johnson. Folks, and once again, my thanks to the everybody who helps out in the viewer mail by sending in your letters, and to another fine job by another fine studio audience. My thanks to you folks also. Oh, no. In the 1960s, my first guest founded a band called the Mothers of Invention, and through live performances and as such albums as Weasels Ripped My Flesh and Burnt Weenie Sandwich, he established a reputation as a brilliant musician and an exciting performer. This is an album of his latest work, ladies and gentlemen, Zappa Volume 1. We're delighted to have him back with us tonight. Please welcome Frank Zappa. Nice to see you again. I want to thank you for coming by last night and helping us out. And when you were here last night, you said that when you came back tonight, there was something you wanted to talk about. Do you remember what you said that was?
Yeah, I thought that one of the important topics that we could discuss in the show, such as you've been conducting tonight, and this really fits in, is brown lipstick in the corporate suite.
Brown lipstick in the corporate suite.
Yeah.
All right, you go first.
Okay. Well, I think that nobody really looks good with brown lipstick on. So why do these guys in the corporate suite keep wearing it? And how does it get there? This is one of the problems facing us today. And what do you think?
Have you run into this a lot, Frank?
Yeah.
And
I was at CBS yesterday.
CBS, and men and women alike were wearing the brown lipstick.
They do.
Boy, I don't know.
See, you're lucky. You have the little blue cards to go like that.
That's right. I can keep that from happening. We have folks who have come specifically to the show tonight to hear about your latest album, the London Symphony Orchestra, performing heretofore unrecorded Frank Zappa works. How do you get the London Symphony Orchestra to do your stuff?
You pay them.
Yeah. But isn't this a really prestigious organization?
Of course. So you pay them a lot of money.
Yeah. And did you flew to London to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind if I read something from the liner note here?
Good.
Musical information. This is the first recorded performance of these works. It goes on. As with every performance of new music, errors will occur. Every effort has been made to remove these, but without a much larger budget for rehearsal and recording time, the possibility of perfection in a premiere situation such as this is somewhat remote. Now, what does that mean exactly?
That means that any time somebody writes a piece of music that nobody's ever seen before, and you hand that music to a musician, unless they have sufficient time to rehearse it and get all the details worked out, the chances of an absolutely perfect performance are not good.
Mm-hmm.
And given the amount of money that I had to spend to produce an album of orchestral music, and the fact that I had a fixed amount of time because of their schedule to do this, that it would be humanly impossible to play works of this complexity absolutely perfect.
Yes.
But we tried.
Now, how close did you get?
I would say that considering the amount of editing that was done to remove bad notes played by various people, that we're up to about 75% on this record.
Well, that's a pretty good deal, isn't it?
It's not too bad.
Now, did you feel driven by integrity to put this on here, or is this common procedure?
No, that was just, I have a personal relationship with my fans where I don't mess around.
Yeah.
And I wanted to let them know that if they listened to this and expected that that was exactly the way it was supposed to be, it's not. It can be played better, but only in a situation where somebody spends more time to rehearse it.
Is it possible that at some point you would go back with bigger budget and more rehearsal time and do it again, or is this it?
Well, you have to understand how I get my budgets. You know,
how do you get them?
I get them from fans spending money for buying records.
Yeah.
If a certain amount of money comes in, then I'll turn that money around and I'll do another project. I spent everything that I could spend to do that, so it's doubtful that I will be making another record of those works. Another orchestra may record it, but I can't afford to do it.
Yeah, well, you know, it's very refreshing that you have that approach. I mean, just pretty much explaining to the folks what's going on.
I think you should be fair with,
especially
people who come here wearing shorts and stuff.
Okay, we got to go away for a commercial. We'll be right back, though, to continue talking with Frank Zappa. Frank Zappa is here. We mentioned the album digital, by the way. Is there any way you can quickly explain to me what this means as opposed to the old steam-powered recordings we played as kids?
It means that the original tapes for this recording were made on a digital medium with no tape hiss and more refined sound. And
this is state-of-the-art stuff, right?
It's the good stuff.
Yeah. You also, I was reading some things about you this afternoon, and in one newspaper interview you mentioned that you'd like to have your own talk show.
Around 1968, I tried to do that. I set out to convince people in television that I should talk to people on TV. And I gave a list of the kinds of people that, you know, when I made my proposal to the TV people, I would say I would have these kind of people on.
What kind were they?
Well, I don't remember who it was, but they didn't like the list, that was for sure.
Who did you make this proposal to?
I think it was NBC.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's kind of surprising they wouldn't go along with you.
There's no accounting for taste. Really.
Now, but just take a second here and think again. Maybe this is putting you on the spot, but who would you, if you had a show, really, would you be interested in letting America take a better look at?
Well, what I would have done at that time would be to take people who were in politics and put them on next to each other on a couple of chairs with people from rock and roll or from the arts, or just people that you wouldn't normally expect to confront each other, and let them hack it out.
Yeah. It was always a kind of a, not necessarily a dream, but an interest of mine that if you had a talk show, and as it turns out I have one.
You lucky guy.
But to get somebody, not unlike the gentleman we pantsed earlier tonight, bring them down and maybe once a month, once a week, whatever, just let them, talk. 15, 20 minutes and find out what the guy does for a living, how are things going, and what is affecting this person that we see on the front page of the newspaper.
I think that's a perfect format, and I think that somebody should do it because people who watch talk shows would probably like to be on them. And I think that people who come to a live audience like this would probably like to just jump up here and start talking about whatever was on their mind.
And probably, because they have been watching talk shows for years, be very good at it.
Yeah, and also because they saw things on talk shows that made them so bored that they knew they could do better.
Yeah.
So they should get a chance to do it.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that one night. Let me ask you about your relationship with another one of our guests, Captain Beefheart.
I went to high school with him, and I haven't seen him in quite some time. I think the last time I saw him was about 2 years ago when he stopped by one of our rehearsals.
And you guys had worked together early?
Yeah, we did. Well, when we were still in high school, we used to... he had to quit because his father got sick. And I was a senior, and he was already out of school and helping the family out because his father was sick. And I used to spend a lot of time over at his house listening to rhythm and blues records. And that was all there was to do in Lancaster.
And
then
Lancaster?
California. And that's one of those kind of places where if you say the name of that town, nobody will ever clap. You say Brooklyn, you know, somebody makes some noise. Lancaster, California is different. And it's really bleak out there. So we used to listen to rhythm and blues records all night, and then he would go into his father drove a Helms bakery truck, and he used to crawl out there and get pineapple buns out of the truck, and we'd eat those in the middle of the night. And later on, after he had formed a band, I'd formed a band, and his band broke up and he wasn't doing any work. I asked him to work in my band for a while. He did one tour with us and made one album with us. But since that time, he's put another group back together and has been recording for Warner.
He's a very interesting man to talk to, isn't he?
He's a strange person.
Yeah. Did you give him his name?
Actually, the name came from a comment made by his, I believe it was his uncle. And it's connected with a somewhat obscene situation where the uncle was exposing himself to his girlfriend who was living in the house at that time. And then the character of Captain Beefheart was derived from this particular comment. And then a screenplay was written called Captain Beefheart versus the Grunt People. That's where the character came from. And he adopted the name for his band.
Knows a good name when he hears it.
Sure does.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier this album, by the way, a potential collector's item. 6,000 copies were pressed.
Yeah, we only pressed 6,000 of this because this is not a rock and roll record, and there's no way that it's going to be on the radio or be on the charts. So there was not a large pressing order for this. So if you like that kind of stuff, better get it. There ain't going to be too many of them sitting around.
And from the money that you get out of this, what do you have any plans for the next project?
There won't be any profit out of this.
Now, Frank, come on.
You can't. It's impossible.
Well, good luck to you, nonetheless. And anytime you want to come by and say hello, it's a pleasure to talk with you. Frank Zappa, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back to take a look at flags from around the world. There's really not going to be any... Thank you, Paul. My next guest is an exciting and unique figure in American music. His work has been performed by the band he founded, of course, the Mothers of Invention, and various symphony orchestras. At the moment, he is working on a Broadway musical. Please welcome back to this program, Mr. Frank Zappa. Thanks for coming back, Frank. You're working on a Broadway musical. What progress are you making? Tell me about it. When's it open? What are we looking for?
Well, I'm still raising money for it. It's going to, hopefully, no later than next Halloween it'll be open.
A year from now. Does it take a lot of money to put a Broadway musical together?
Well, this particular one is about $4 million.
Wow. Yeah. That seems high, doesn't it?
No, it's cheaper than Cats.
Oh, well, that's your blockbuster. We have some stuff that they tell me is from the play, or you hope it will be in the play, or what are we going to look at, Frank?
I sent over 2 Polaroids of some of the masks of 2 of the characters that are going to be in there. That's Sister Abdullah X.
Uh-huh.
She's a ventriloquist dummy who is operated by this other character. They have his name is Thingfish.
What is the premise of this musical?
Well, there's this evil prince and a part-time theatrical criticizer who has come up with a disease that he hopes is going to solve one of the big problems facing the world today, which is how to get rid of all unwanted, highly rhythmic individuals and sissy boys. So he makes this stuff, and before he puts it in the water supply, he goes to San Quentin, and he puts it in the mashed potatoes to test it on some of the guys there because they used them before when they were working with syphilis. And when they put this disease in the mashed potatoes, it doesn't kill these guys, it makes them really ugly. And they come out looking like, they have a head like a potato, lips like a duck, big white gloves like Al Jolson used to wear, and growing out of their bodies are these garments that they refer to as nakkins, and the upper part looks like a nun's habit, and the bottom part looks like Aunt Jemima's dress with an apron.
sounds like a joyous celebration of the American theater.
That's exactly what it is. It's a celebration of the American way of life.
Now, being that tonight was, I guess, Halloween, you, when you were working with your band, played a lot of Halloween performances?
Certainly did.
Any memorable ones come to mind?
Oh, there have been quite a few. There was one time when we had the dancing police on stage at the Palladium.
Oh, tell us about that.
Well, there were two guys who were the regular policemen that used to work at the Palladium. I can't remember both their names. One guy's name was Gene Fiocca. And they're really nice policemen. We used to see them every year when we come there. And we decided that this one occasion we were going to get two girls out of the audience to dance with them because they looked lonely.
Yeah.
So we got two girls from the audience to come up, and they took the policemen's hats. And they took
Actual New York City policemen?
That's right. They took the hats. They took the nightsticks. They were reaching for the guns, but that,
you got to draw the line somewhere, sure.
And they did dance, and they had a wonderful time on stage, and it put a new dimension to the police force at that time.
Yeah. And you're also putting together all of the old Mothers of Invention albums and re-releasing them. That's a massive project, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
How many albums are involved in that?
35.
Goodness. And what, will someone go in and buy the entire collection, or can you buy part of it, or?
It's going to be 5 boxes with 7 albums each.
5 boxes, 7 albums, and what would that set a person back?
I don't know yet, because in order to re-release it, some of the earliest tapes, like for the Freak Out album, Absolutely Free, We're Only In It For The Money, and Lumpy Gravy, the master tapes for those things were so badly stored that you can see through them. The oxide has fallen off, so they have to be remixed, and we had to add new drums to it, and so there's extra studio costs involved in doing that, and I won't know what the whole project's going to cost till it's done.
Any idea when these would be available? This is truly a big
That's going to depend on the Broadway show, because at the point where we get the money to do this thing, I'll be working on that all year.
Yeah.
And I think that...
well, you're busy. You got a lot of stuff going on.
Oh, yeah, I try to be.
Yeah. How about any other classical music organizations doing your stuff?
There's going to be a performance in January. It's going to be January the 9th in Paris at the Theatre de la Ville, and Pierre Boulez is going to conduct 3 of my chamber music pieces.
Good heavens, you've come a long way, huh? Big time stuff. Frank, listen, I'm sorry we ran short tonight. Do us a favor.
Tattoo.
Thank you very much. And come back when we have a little more time. We'll continue talking. We'll be right back, folks. Thanks, folks. We're nearly out of time. Thank you very much, Frank. Nice to see you again. Also to Elizabeth Ashley and Pee Wee Herman. Tomorrow night, Bob and Ray will be here. Have a good evening. Thanks, folks. Good night.